This is Studio 809.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Outdoors Hiking Bob podcast. I'm your host, Hiking Bob Falcone. You can find me on my website at hikingbob.com, which has links to my social media, my newspaper columns, my other podcasts, my photography website. You can drop me a line and email me if you have a question, comment, or suggestion. And you can also sign up for my newsletter there. All that at hikingbob.com. Well, it's the week after Thanksgiving, and Kevin is here with me, and we're going to talk real quick about some topics that are probably pretty timely. Last week, we just did a quick thank you, which, again, we always want to say thank you to everybody. But now we're going to get back on the usual topic matter. Kevin, say hi.
Hey everyone, it's Kevin Wild Westendorf. I am found on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Wild Westendorf, and my website wildwestendorf.com.
Cool. So Kevin, we're at that time of the year. It's winter, and boy, I'll tell you, last week winter really set in. It got chilly, it got a little rainy, but then it warmed up again.
Yeah.
So winter set in. Arizona has had a lot of rain. Now, the reason why I bring it up, I was in Arizona for Thanksgiving, and for those people who follow me a lot, you know that we go to Arizona every spring, and typically I'm taking pictures of the wildflowers. March, April, beautiful there. If it's been a good year, there's scads of poppies. People have seen the pictures I've had of super blooms down there, just acres and acres and acres of the wild poppies and the cactus blossoms. Last winter, about this time, was very dry in Arizona. Very dry.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
And I had very few pictures. I mean, there was almost nothing to take pictures of because just nothing happened. It was dead dry. This year so far, Arizona's already had the wettest fall in history. In 100 years, I should say.
Oh, wow.
100 years.
Okay.
This is the time of the year that they need the rain for the poppies that show up in March and April. They need the rain now. They don't need the rain then. The rain that we did get there last spring was too late. So we're pretty excited already here and talk about a really great spring bloom season. So I am super excited about the pictures I'm going to get in about 3 or 4 more months down there.
Nice.
Colorado's had a pretty mixed winter. You know, we've had some snow. Pikes Peak had some snow on it last week, and you know, been a pretty mixed winter. But then it got warm again, so it's been a pretty interesting season. There was actually about 2 weeks ago in Arizona. There was actually hail on the west end of Phoenix. That was like we get hail here, like inches deep. It was just insane, the weather. So they're getting plenty of moisture down there. Hopefully that'll keep going. Kevin, how was your Thanksgiving? Was it good Thanksgiving?
It was good. My mom and I went to the Broadmoor. So for Christmas and Thanksgiving, they do a buffet, and it's not Golden Corral level.
Oh no, I wouldn't expect it there.
It is so much better. Like it's actually
thinking lobster tail buffet or something.
Yeah. So it was really, really good. But yeah, it's just the weather has been interesting. It hasn't felt like a true fall yet. And we're towards the end of November, so it's just kind of like, okay, when are we going to get snow? I'm sure a lot of you get this, but like I've been getting the Facebook memories of posts in the past, and it just shows like a month and a half ago, I was like making posts about like, oh wow, we're getting so much snow and stuff, and so it's just weird. It's been a very dry and warm fall.
You mean like previous histories in Facebook?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what our plans are for 2026. But before we do that, Kevin and I have both found or have both gone to new places to go hiking.
Yes.
So I'm going to let Kevin go first because he's talked about a place that I've heard about. And in 34 years of living here, have never traveled the, 2 hours to get there, if it's even that far.
Oh, it's like a 3+ hour drive.
Oh, it's longer than that. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about where you were hiking recently and what your trip was like down there. And I'll talk about the place I went, which is not nearly as exciting as where you were.
So for my birthday month in October, I did a couple little trips, and I know I already talked about Wheeler Geologic Area, but another trip I did was down south. It's about a half hour south of La Junta, which is in the southeast part of the state. And a part of why the drive is 3+ hours is because a large chunk of that drive is on dirt roads. So obviously you have to drive slow and stuff on those. But what I hiked was Picket Wire Canyon, which has been on my bucket list for years and years. And so I finally decided, like you know what? I've got the time, I've got the money and stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I did a hike out there. Like I said, it's about a half hour south of La Junta. The hike itself is around 15 or 16 miles round trip. And the majority of it is just you're in a wide open desert. But I love the desert landscape. It's beautiful out there. You see all kinds of geology that is really, really cool. And you come across some old Spanish buildings that are older than the United States itself. These buildings were built when this part of the state was a part of Mexico still. And the big one you come across is the Spanish Mission. So there's still a cross there that's on the building itself, but there's also a cemetery. So you're seeing grave sites that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old, which is just it's crazy to me. The thing that's most amazing about the canyon is you come across a site of dinosaur tracks that are known to be the largest collection of them in North America, which is incredible because you can actually see like the individual toes and the tracks. And I know one of the dinosaur names was an Apatosaurus, which is like a T-Rex, kind of. And the other is, I'm forgetting the name, but it's like a Brontosaurus. So it's, the giant one with the really long neck. And you can actually tell the difference between the tracks of the Apatosaurus and the other one, which is really, really cool. The Forest Service actually went in and forded part of the river, Purgatoire River, to help preserve these sites. And the name Picket Wire, the settlers decided that Purgatoire was too hard to say, so they just changed it to Picket Wire. So yeah, that's the story of the area.
It's a white man's influence.
Yeah. It's like Purgatoire, like that's too French. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all right, but yeah.
So, did you hike all the way down? Did you do the whole 15 miles?
Yes, and it's the only downhill and uphill part is at the very start when you go down into the canyon, but it turns into a very wide canyon, so it's more like a valley. And then when you go back up, it's a very short uphill climb back up.
So did it feel like a 15-mile round trip hike, or was it pretty level once you got down? Because does the canyon just follow the riverbed, so it's pretty?
Yeah, and
so it's not going to be real steep or anything, right?
It's flat. I mean, it's very, very flat. There is a 4x4 road that takes you straight to the dinosaur tracks, but coming from a different direction. I don't remember what direction that came from because there's a ranch that is like way, way, way south of where the tracks were that I didn't go to. I'm assuming you would park there at that ranch and just drive on a Jeep or something. And I'm talking, you don't really need a 4x4. Like, you'd be fine in an all-wheel drive. But if you're just going to the tracks, yeah, like that's the historic ruins and stuff too. It is a very, very long hike, but because it's flat, like, it just felt like a very long walk.
So it's not a terrible hike, just other than distance.
Yeah, it's just long.
I've
Yeah.
heard in the summer, though, you don't want to do it. I heard in the
Oh,
summer,
yeah,
it's unbearably hot down that way.
And the mosquitoes are big too. Yeah.
So there's water down there all the time?
Yeah, because of the river, but you kind of have to go off trail a little bit to get to the river. But I brought enough water that I didn't need to go and filter water and stuff. But it's definitely a good idea to bring a filter, especially if you go in the summer. Because I went in October, so it was like it was hot out there. So I can't imagine being out there in like July or August or something.
So I'm looking at this on Cotrex, and from the trailhead, what's marked as a trailhead, all the way down to what they call Rourke Ranch National Historic Site. This says it's about 8.5 miles round trip. That sound about right? Or did you not go that far? Or
I don't think. Let me bring up my Garmin. Hold on, let me. Because it was definitely not 8.5 miles.
This is one way.
Oh,
Actually, sorry, did I say round trip? It's one way, 8.5 miles.
one way. That sounds more accurate. Let me.
Yeah, sorry about that. If I said round trip, I misspoke. It's,
Oh no, that's totally fine. Let me. Oh, okay. Okay, so mine was round trip was 12.44 miles.
okay. And I do see. Let's see what this is.
And I did go off trail a little bit because at the mission, there's a trail that goes behind it a bit. So I went on that trail a bit. But I didn't go all the way because I wasn't sure where that little side trail would go to. So
I do see on here they do have the dinosaur tracks site on here, and it looks like, according to Cotrex, about 5.5 miles each way.
okay,
So that'd be close to what you did.
yeah.
So about 5.5 miles one way. So another 3 miles. Yeah, 3 miles to get all the way down to the ranch down there at the bottom. And I do see that there's a dirt road through there. So if you could take the road and get down to the ranch, but it sounds like you miss a whole lot as opposed to hiking it. But then again, you don't want to hike the whole way because you're talking 17 miles round trip. That's a lot of hiking in a day. That's a long day.
And apparently along the way there are petroglyphs, but I couldn't find out exactly where to look for them. But I did see a lot of rock formations that might have had them, but they were so far off trail that I didn't want to go because of rattlesnakes and stuff like that. Like because there's a lot of brush. So I was wearing shorts too, so I was just like, oh, okay, I'm not sure if I want to walk in this brush that I can't see. So if I'm ever out in that area again, I'd like to to learn exactly where those are, because I'm a huge fan of petroglyphs, and I think it's really cool that we have that here because we're not really known for those. Because it's more of a New Mexico or Utah, Arizona thing.
I see that they have here on the map, but not anywhere near the trailhead, the Picket Wire Canyon Interpretive Site. Did you Picket Wire Corral?
Oh no,
interpretive site, but nowhere near. I guess it might be near where the road goes in, but it's like not near anything. It's kind of weird. They have a trailhead way over here. Then they have this thing way over there. So it's kind
that might have been where the petroglyphs were actually, because I saw
it's on an intersection of a county road.
Because I saw photos of it for the trail itself, but maybe the corral is where they are. Actually,
Well, this is the Corral's interpretive site, so I'm not even sure that might just be like not a visitor center per se, but a place that has information.
Yeah.
I think so. So anyway, you liked it though. It was worth doing, but not in July.
Yeah,
or August, or maybe even September.
So I went in October, and like I said, it was still very, very warm, like it was hot. But I decided to do a little trip out of it, so I went south of there to stay in the town of Trinidad. The hotel I stayed in was very, very cool, and they were all decked out for Halloween, so that was really fun. Trinidad is a very underrated town. I think a lot of people just drive through it, but it's actually, La Junta is just kind of, I won't trash a town on here, but I will say La Junta is very Oklahoma.
Okay. Is it? Well, it's kind of, there's a lot of ranching.
Yeah.
And, again, we're not disparaging anybody. It's a lot of ranching out there, so I can picture your typical crossroads ranching community, probably not really reliant on a lot of tourism, but they're probably there to do business for the ranchers. And I saw a lot of that stuff when I lived in South Dakota, way out in the in northwestern South Dakota. They were just crossroads, and that's where they plopped down a town. And there was a mailbox, a gas, a post office, a gas station, a general store, and a few houses to service all the places around it. Yeah,
and that's essentially it. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but it's just Trinidad had more like oh, here's the cool restaurant to go to. Here's the cool bar to go to and stuff. So which is why I chose to stay there.
Trinidad's kind of eclectic, I think might be the word to use for Trinidad.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story about La Junta after the podcast.
Got a secret.
But it was an interesting experience that I had, but it's political, so I will save it for after the show. So
Try to keep politics out of the show unless they relate to outdoor recreation. Trinidad's also a cool town because where Fisher's Peak State Park is
Yep.
based out of. It's the first town you come in, the first town of any decent. It's little. As you come into state from the south, on the interstate, you come over a Tone Pass, you'll find little signs for little towns, but really nothing there, just houses. But the first town you come into, Fisher's Peak State Park, is just south of there. The people down there in Trinidad really embraced having that state park
Yep.
there. It's an old town. Been there for a long time. You could tell by the building. Probably the hotel you stayed in was probably, I'm guessing, a pretty old place.
The hotel that I stayed in, the woman who booked me in she said it was built in like 1880.
She was the granddaughter of the person who built it.
She might have it. I'm not sure.
Well, it's cool. So, would you want to go back there and hike the whole way down, the whole 17 miles?
Oh yeah,
of
yeah.
that?
It's very flat, so it's just a very long walk. Besides that, though, it's a beautiful desert landscape. A lot of geology that is really, really cool. Plus the old buildings and the mission that is older than the United States. And I know dinosaurs have walked around everywhere here, obviously, but seeing physical remnants of that and being able to see the details of like their toes and stuff millions of years later, it's so cool. Like it's such a cool feeling.
Are these like really big prints or like small or?
No, they're only I would say like 2 handprints aside.
That's not small,
large.
but not huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're smaller than I thought they'd be, but it would make sense that they're smaller than they would be because of age and time and all that, and like the land changing and stuff. But
And these are in the rock.
yeah.
So they were done when the rock was molten, one would assume, or something like that.
Yep. And it had to do with the fact that like the rock got solidified and then more layers of rock got over it, and then over time the river came through and then like it washed away the softer layers. It's kind of the same feeling that I get at fluorescent fossil beds because you're seeing the tree stumps that are millions of years old. And just learning about how they were formed over time is just it's fascinating.
According to the info on Cotrex, bikes are allowed. Bikes and horses are allowed on that trail. So
Yes,
it might be a way to, maybe a good place to take your bike and bike down. Did it look like? I mean, how to look for biking? I mean, nothing. I'm imagining probably an easy bike ride.
I saw a couple folks on bikes because at the trailhead there's a 4-wheel drive and a bike trail that eventually connects to the hiking trail.
Because of that downhill section, so you might want to separate that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I did see folks on bikes. I also at where the dinosaur tracks are, there's a restroom there too,
Oh, wow.
which is I was shocked about, like because it's so out of the way that I saw
And we're
that. And I
talking
was-
your typical Forest Service pit toilet type of
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
And you can take a 4-wheel drive from the trailhead for where the hiking trail starts too. But you can also start at the ranch site too. I did see people on bikes, but the majority of the time I saw hikers. I saw more people than I thought I would because of how remote of a trail it is. But there were a bunch of cars at the trailhead, and yeah, the only reason I knew about the trail that goes behind the mission was because of a couple that I saw there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a trail that goes all the way up here and stuff." And so I was like, "Oh okay, I'll check that out on my way back." And
I might check that out. I might actually just bring my bike down there and just bike the
oh yeah,
17 mile. I mean, I would like to hike it, but let's face it. Well, do they allow dispersed camping? I mean, can you stay there overnight, or you?
yeah.
Okay, so it might be good to do as a backpacking thing. You know, an overnight, go down there, get down to the old ranch, and just pitch a tent in the middle of the desert there, watch out for the tarantulas, rattlesnakes, and scorpions, and whatever else is down there, and then come back the next day. Because by anybody's measure, 17 miles in a day is a long, long, long day of hiking.
And it's
on
really
relatively flat trail.
around 600 feet of elevation descent and gain.
Most of that's at the beginning, you said, right?
It's at the very, very start.
So it's pretty flat trail.
Yeah.
I mean, 600 feet over a course of 8.5 miles is...
It's nothing. I mean, it is flat. Yeah.
It sounds like fun. I might have to check that out next year because now we're getting into winter, daylight, and even though the weather may not be bad, daylight hours are getting short. So obviously trying to do it in the winter when you have a long hike and limited amount of daylight. It sounds like a good thing to do at the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, but it's also the hottest day of the year. So you don't want to do it then. But October, like you did it before the time change, you still have a fair amount of daylight. Sounds like it's pretty good. Sounds like a great trip. Sounds like a lot of fun. Been on my bucket list for years. I've been here 34 years, haven't done it yet. Why not? Beats me. Probably because I know it's a bit of a drive and I know it's a long hike and, questioning doing that. But it sounds like I should just go ahead and plan
It's
on
fun.
doing it.
It's not like this beautiful hike with like vistas everywhere and stuff. Like it's a desert landscape. But I enjoy that.
Right.
So yeah.
Cool. I found a new place. I'm going to be writing about this in the bulletin. So I'm just going to give a little bit of background on this. I went hiking in Oil Well Flats, which is in
Nice.
Bureau of Land Management land north of Canyon City.
I love that hike or that place. I mean,
yeah, it's a beautiful spot. Very popular for cyclists and hikers and horseback riders. There's a couple loops you can do there. I did a shorter loop the last time I was there. You've done a longer one where you went up on the big bluff above there.
Yeah.
But while I was looking at that, and I had forgotten that I'd even been there, I thought, boy, I don't think I've ever been to Oil Well Flats. And then I got out there and started to look familiar. Then when I came home and looked at my database, because I keep everything in an Excel spreadsheet.
same here. Yep.
I found out that I had done it, but it had been like 6 years ago, which is why it wasn't fresh in my mind. But the sign started to look familiar. Like, I think I've been here before. And along the way up there was a lot of signs for and a lot of pullouts for different trails and quarries and stuff like that to check out. So I might check that out. But I noticed on the map a couple miles north of Oil Well Flats, so outside of the BLM land, you then go into right after Oil Well Flats. You go out of BLM land, you go on private land. It's a highway, but so it's all private land. But then I noticed there was a place called Red Canyon Park,
Yes. Okay.
owned by the city of Manitou Springs, or not Manitou Springs, Canyon City, a long way out from Canyon City. So I look at it, and there's no details on this. It's just a plot of land. Did a little research, quick Google search, and people talked about, it's out there, but there's nothing out there. No trails, just go out there and kind of bebop around. I went up there, drove through it. There is a road. There were pullouts for campsites, and I mean, it's really nice. Pullouts for campsites, picnic places. There were a number of pit toilet type bathroom facilities through there. And I noticed there were trailhead signs for trails crossing the road, but I didn't know if this was one trail system or a bunch of little trails or what it was. So we drove through there. We went back. Cole was with me. We hiked the little loop around Oil Well Flats, 4-ish miles. Came home, did some research, found out this other information. I then emailed our friends at Fremont Area Recreation, who are responsible for a lot of the parks around the Royal Gorge Bridge and the Royal Gorge area. And I emailed them and said, what can you tell me about this place? They sent me a link to a city website, City Canyon City, that had a PDF of the maps. It's not on Cotrex. It's not on anything. So apparently the park has been there for a while, but the trails are new.
Okay.
Basically one trail with a little offshoot trail. There's actually an accessibility trail there for people who have like terrain hoppers or something like that. There's actually an accessibility trail there. So a little loop for that. And then there's a trail that goes into a slot canyon. Most of it's unmarked. There are some markings there, but really was a nice hike. I went down there with a friend of mine later, and we went down there with our dogs. We hiked the loop, and it was around 4-ish miles all the way around. Nice trail, nice views. The trails are not on Cotrex. However, Fremont Area Adventure Recreation said they're going to get them on Cotrex pretty soon.
Okay.
So I'm going to write a column about it, go into more detail about it. But if you're looking for a place to go, the only thing there's a couple of caveats I'm going to give you. It's a lot like Oil Well Flats for terrain, so mostly dry, but it's a weird mix. It's like juniper bushes with 3 different types of cactus next to it, and pine. It's a very odd place in that regard. Very beautiful, but the road through there is that red soil, that red, dusty.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It's nice for hiking, but I would say do not go there after it's rained, because my guess is it is a muddy, muddy mess. And there are signs all over the place about don't go hiking there in the mud. Don't make things worse by hiking in the mud. My guess is that road, which is a bit rough. I mean, I had no problem with it. Any stock vehicle can do it. That's not like one of those things that just barely clears the ground. Can do it. Not like you can't do it, but I'm guessing that when it gets muddy, not only is it messy, but there were a couple places where the road dropped down a bit, a little steep, not for very far, but if it's muddy, you could be stuck in there.
Even Oil Well Flats, there was one time I went out there, I think it was last year, and there was still snow on the road. And you know how the little part that goes up to the lot, like
Right.
it's very steep.
When you come off the highway, the county road there, yeah.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
And I've got a 4-wheel drive, so it's just kind of, or it's an all-wheel drive, I mean. So I can imagine going further north of there would be rough if it's muddy.
And it's that red soil, so
Yeah.
it looks cool, but it's very soft soil, and when it gets wet, it just turns to red, yucky clay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you just didn't go there and just didn't make ruts through there. Plus, you're probably, if you drive that road, you're probably going to get stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to be writing more about it. I'll just say that it's a beautiful spot. It's on the map, so I'm not revealing anything that's not on the maps. Apparently, the trail's going to be on Cotrex before much longer. There are sources for the PDF of the map. I'll provide links to those if it's not on Cotrex by then. I'll be writing something about that in the bulletin pretty soon. And none of the hiking is hard. That's the beauty of it. It was about 4 miles, different views. You were in a canyon, you were up on a high point. The only thing that was a little disappointing was there's 2 big towering red rock formations that you can see from there, but they're not in the park. They're actually on private property.
Oh, no.
You can see them, and you can see them fairly close, but you can't get to them. And there's a lot of fencing and signing saying don't go there.
Oh, okay.
They like to compare it to the Garden of the Gods, that whole park. I think it's more like Red Rock Canyon.
Okay.
If you're familiar with some of the trails in Red Rock Canyon, you're deep in the rocks and everything. I think it's more like Red Rock Canyon open space that we have here in Colorado Springs than it is like Garden of the Gods.
And you said there's a slot canyon?
There's a little slot canyon there. It's unmarked, and I'll describe where it is. It was compared to us as a slot canyon. By the time we got around to it, because it was close to where we started, but we went all the way around before we got to it, it was getting a little late in the day. I don't know how slot canyon-ish it is, but it is a canyon that you go into. It's very soft soil. Again, probably in the when there's runoff, it's probably pretty drastic through there. But it's at a convenient parking spot. But there was a signpost there, but no sign on it yet. So you kind of know where it is. If you know where it is, you know where it is. I'll point out where it is. But it looked like a pretty cool place. I think it's a lot of fun. I think I went there the first time on a weekday with Cole when we just drove through it. Didn't see a soul. We went back there on a weekend, and we saw maybe 4 or 5 other people. So not a lot of people. It's out there a ways. So it's you got to want it, but it's definitely worth wanting. I would definitely do it, but not after it rains. And don't expect to get to those big rock formations you can see from all over. They're on private property, unfortunately. In Canyon City, by the land.
That's what I like about Canyon City. It's a very underrated area to hike in. The first thing I think of is when you're halfway there, there's the Egan Canyon Preserve, which is a really nice hike. You can do the main loop, which is very short, which has a little side trail that goes up to the top of this little mountain, and it has another side trail that goes into the canyon where you can see the remains of a cabin. And it's so far off the beaten path that I'm not understanding why someone would build a cabin in that spot in the first place. But
I think they were mining back there.
Makes sense. Okay,
we'll
yeah,
do
yeah,
mine. But
yeah. It's
I'm just guessing, but I think that would make sense. But yeah,
And then there's Beaver Creek State Wildlife Area, which is an incredible hike. I love that hike. It's beautiful.
talk about remote. That is remote.
Yeah,
back
that
there.
what's crazy is, though, is that despite it being so remote, that along the hike you find remains of an old like wire, and light bulbs or something. But I'm talking light bulbs from the 1800s, not the modern type. And then there's the oil well flats, and then there's Fremont Peak and stuff. Like it just there's a lot of hiking out there that is incredible. That is just slightly off the beaten path a little bit.
And that's not even talking about all the hikes around Royal Gorge Park, which is
Oh,
not
yeah.
anything to do with Royal Gorge Bridge. It's all around that. There's all kinds of hikes around Royal Gorge Park and then south and then there. So they're doing a lot of nice work for outdoor recreation, beautiful trails that are down there. So I wrote about some of them in the Independent before it went under and got bought and whatever the heck happened there. So hopefully that stuff can be resurrected. But some really nice trails. There is one that's more difficult. It's also closed for part of the year because of habitat. There's a trail that runs along the river and it goes through a couple little tunnels, and you see the train go right below you. It's some really nice places to visit out there. They do a really nice job. Canyon City's a pretty cool little town, a growing town, but it's a pretty cool little town down there.
Yeah.
The Royal Gorge train does run in and out of there. If you ever get a chance to do that, that's a lot of fun. But they do have a lot of recreation stuff in there. They recognize that that's important to them. So they do have a lot of recreation stuff down there.
Yeah, I've got a coworker who just moved from there, so she's born and raised there. And when I started going up, like, oh yeah, Canyon City is really cool. Like, you can do this and this and this. And she was like, I've never heard anyone talk good about that city or town. And I was like, no, it's an underrated place. Like, yeah.
Well, most people go there either do the Royal Gorge Bridge or they do the Royal Gorge Railroad or they blow through it on the way to, Salida or something like that. But there's a lot to see there. It's a pretty cool place. I don't know about living there. It's a small town.
Yeah.
But it has, a big Home Depot and a big Walmart. So it has some big city, quote unquote, amenities to it. A couple of grocery stores. It's not like if you go there, it's the Wild West or someplace look like Oklahoma. I don't want to do that. Anyway, a couple places that we visited recently. You'll be hearing more about these, I think, in the future. I really need to do Picket Wire. Maybe you and I can go next. Either we need to go in the spring or in the fall, not in July.
Oh, no, yeah.
And actually, I don't want to go in August. Don't they do the tarantula?
Oh, that's
My
right. I
God.
forgot about that.
I'm
Yeah.
not going within 100 miles of there where the tarantulas
Oh,
are.
I need to find a picture from 2 months ago that I saw that a nurse at work picked up of this giant spider. And I didn't know that spiders that big were a thing here.
So not a tarantula.
No, but it's huge. And by huge, I'm talking spider standards. But yeah, I was just like, oh, no, F this.
The sound you hear that sounds like a little girl screaming, that's me. I don't like spiders. I'm sorry. I just don't like spiders. Snakes, I'll play with rattlesnakes all day, but not play, but as everybody knows, I have a picture of almost every rattlesnake I've ever seen because I think they're cool. And once you know where they're at, they're fine. But anything with 8 legs and 30 eyes or whatever it's got,
Nope.
I don't need to mess with that. Real quick, last week we talked about who we give thanks for, and we gave a lot of examples. Don't forget the Give campaign is going on. It goes on till the end of the year. And I did 4 podcasts back in November with 4 groups that I picked out of the Great Outdoors category. They're great groups. I only have time to do a few groups for the Give campaign, so I usually pick 4. And I picked one group that does boots on the ground work, which was Rocky Mountain Field Institute. They actually do trail work. I picked another group that's more social. It's the Women's Mountain Biking Association. Great bunch of gals over there who are doing a lot of stuff to get women out there by having these bike rides during the spring, summer, and fall months. Featured another group that does fundraising, Friends of Monument Valley Park. And if you've been through Monument Valley Park, it's one of General Palmer's old legacy parks that runs along Monument Creek through town, and all the stonework, which is beautiful. I love that. Stonework. They're redoing that. And one group that's advocacy, Pikes Peak Outdoor Recreation Alliance. So I picked 4 groups that cover 4 different aspects of outdoor recreation. Go back and listen to those podcasts. Then go back and listen through my list. If you go to my website, there's a page there for podcasts. Go back to listen to groups that were in previous Give campaign podcasts. Those groups are still there. Some of the events they have might not be current, but their missions are all still the same. So if you want to go back and listen to that. Anyway, give at givepikespeak.org. Give money, especially now with budgets getting tight. They really are being relied on by government agencies to do more work. So they need more money to do more work to help these government agencies who are having budget issues, whether they be federal or county or state or local, whatever they are. Kevin, usually around this time of the year, the race is on for me to hit my 800 miles of hiking for the year. I will say it's not likely unless December is a perfect month and I could do more than 100 miles. I've only done 100-mile months a couple of times.
Okay.
And that is harder than people will think it
Yeah.
is,
Oh, yeah.
to get 100 miles, especially because I'm traveling. So, we were in Arizona. We came back. We're going back to Arizona. So that's 2 days of travel that there's no hiking getting done there. So you can knock a couple of days right off the thing. And part of that was there's a couple issues there. One of which, Cole is getting to the point where he can't hike as long as he used to. He's 10 years old.
Yeah.
So he can do 4 or 5 miles, and then he just peters out. So if I take him for a hike, I'm limited to how far I can hike. I'm not blaming him. I'm getting older too. Sometimes it's harder for me to do more than 4 or 5 miles. That's the issue. And if people know about my foot injury that I was dealing with, I finally got rehabbed on that over the spring and summer. I feel great. I bought some new boots. They support me really well. So I'm picking up my average hiking distance. But if I take Cole with me, which I want to do because he loves to go for a hike, he's never happier. Kevin, you've seen him. He's never happier than his hike. His ears are up. His nose is going. His tail's wagging. But I can only hike so many miles with him. So anyway, probably not going to make 800 miles. I'm going to be close.
Okay.
Barring any injuries, it's got to be more than 750, I think. But it's probably not going to be 800 miles. So this will be the first time in a long time I didn't hit 800 miles in a year. Hey, you know what? I'm 66-ish. I'm old. And I'm still moving. So, but maybe I could pour it on toward the end of the year when I'll be in Arizona and it'll be warmer weather. And
maybe, yeah.
And Arizona being further south and a little further west, the days are a little longer. Could be up to 20 minutes longer than they are here. How much day? Plus, you don't have a 14,000-foot peak blocking the sun. But I'm going to try. But it's not going to be 800 miles, unfortunately. I know everybody's listening goes, I don't care. Nobody cares except me. But I have a goal. It's my goal every year to hit 800 miles. Last year, I barely made it. It was 800.0 something because I've dealing with the beginning of that foot injury. And so, but I feel healthy, feel good. My foot feels good. I got some good boots, had some great physical therapy that got me straightened out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get the miles in.
And I've had hiking goals too. But with the health scare last year and stuff like that, it's just like, I'm just going to put those goals on what's the phrase I'm trying to think of? On the back burner. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. And, but I'm doing like almost 200 miles more than I did last year.
Great.
So far. So yeah, I am fine with that because I really didn't do a lot of hiking last year because of health concerns and worries and anxiety too and stuff. But now it's just like I've been really like kicking it out of the park. So I'm almost to 300 miles this year. So before last year I would do a lot more than that. So I'm glad to be getting back to the normal average.
Awesome. Well, I hope next year's even better for you.
Yeah.
I hope to hit 800 miles next year. We'll see. A lot of that was travel too. I mean, when I'm traveling, I'm going on these different trips I go on, which is the topic of our next topic coming up here. A lot of those I can't do as much hiking as I would want to, or just travel days. You knock off a couple of travel days, then you can't do anything while you're traveling. So a lot of that makes a difference. But I'm going to be pretty close. It should be more than 750.
Cool.
Maybe even as close as 775 if I really get it. Weather holds out and
nice
other things hold out. It should be pretty close, but darn it, not being. And I know nobody cares except me. But I have to have a goal. If I don't have a goal, it's easy to just blow it off. I'm not going to go hiking. And I don't hike just to meet my goal. I mean, as you know, Kevin, and people listen, I'm always looking for a new place to hike, and I time it for when it's the best photo opportunities and stuff. So I'm not just hiking just to get miles. I'm hiking for its exercise, and I'm also hiking because I want to experience different things. So it's not just not just the miles. So, Kevin, it brings me to my last topic that we have listed here is travel plans for 2026.
Okay.
I have no big trips planned with National Geographic or Off the Beaten Path for this year. I know everybody's shocked. No more than National Geographic send me emails going, are you going anywhere with us this year? Probably not. My funds that I put aside for this, into dedicated funds for this, have kind of gotten depleted for after the last couple of trips. So I'm building them up. Maybe something in 27. So I'm thinking there going, where do I want to go in 26? I want to take a big trip, some type. So one of the things I have in the works is Acadia National Park in Maine. Way out there, north and east. Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park is the first place in the continental United States that sees sunrise every day. That'd be a cool thing to experience, see sunrise before the rest of the country does. So I'm looking at doing that probably right after Labor Day. So why after Labor Day, do you ask? Well, because I want to get pictures of the Milky Way. People know I take a lot of nighttime. I love doing nighttime photography. My pictures of the Aurora Borealis
they were
in November
incredible.
were just like that is a once in a lifetime event. Probably won't see that in July in Acadia, but I want to get pictures of the Milky Way, the other thing I like taking pictures of. So at first I thought, let's go out there in the summer, get pictures of the Milky Way over the ocean, which would be stunning. Don't get me wrong. They'd be stunning. But as I looked into it, I looked at these photo excursion groups that go out there. I don't need a photo excursion group. I can go to Acadia myself. I know how to take the pictures. I'm mostly looking at timing and location. Most of them go out there in September. So I'm like, why are they going in September? Then I started looking at pictures. I started Googling Milky Way Acadia National Park. Well, if you go there in September, the Milky Way is more to the south. You get it right over the coastline. So as opposed to being over the ocean, which would look stunning, but could really be taken anywhere where you're on a coastline, these would be taken on the coastline itself, right over the... So it looks like I'm going to be going, if all things hold off, and I'm right after the first year, I'm going to start making definitive reservations. Why am I waiting after the first year? Because then they become tax deductible for next year. I do get to deduct these trips because I do journalism based on these trips and photography, which I sell. So I do get to deduct these trips. So I'm looking like right after Labor Day, which is when there's a new moon, because you can't have a moon and do the Milky Way at the same time. It just doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
So right after Labor Day, I'm probably going to go to Acadia, spend about a week there. Kevin and I were talking about where to fly into. I was going to fly into Bar Harbor. Not Bar Harbor, Bangor. But there wasn't many airlines that flew in there. Southwest does not fly into Bangor. Why do I want to fly Southwest? Because I have a bazillion other points. But Kevin realized that if you fly into Portland, Southwest flies into there. Now, Bangor is about an hour away from Acadia. Portland is about 2.5 to 3 hours away. I'll drive 2.5 to 3 hours up that beautiful coastline to get to Acadia National Park. So I may end up doing this with Southwest and just using my points, but I don't know yet. Well, that remains to be seen. With Southwest new changes, we'll see how that goes. But that's kind of my big trip that I have in mind. It's not that big of a trip. It's going to be a week out there.
Just be really careful if you drive through a town called Derry.
Okay, yeah.
there's I've been told there's a clown that likes to mess your day up.
Stephen King writes about Maine for a reason, besides the fact that he lives there. Don't run into what's the Pennywise?
Yep.
Pennywise the clown. Yeah, I read the first It. Scared
I did years ago.
Living daylights out of me.
And you can definitely tell Stephen King was on coke when he wrote that book. And I
don't even think he denies it.
He is open about that. Like he went through a period in his young life. But when you read it, you can tell okay, he's not sober.
Yeah, he was. So anyway, and the other place I was thinking about, and this comes about because when we go to Arizona, we stop in Grants, New Mexico. We split it into 2 days. We used to drive all the way through. It was 13 hours, a really hard slog. Now that we have dogs that we take with us, it's tough on the dogs.
Yeah.
Cole and Rookie are great travelers, but Cole doesn't sleep in the car. So it's 13 hours when he's kind of awake the whole time. He'll lay down in the back seat, but he really doesn't go to sleep. Rookie will go to sleep. But it's a long day. So we stop in Grants, New Mexico, which is about halfway. And there's some stuff to do there. There's a place called Taylor Mountain, which is like the highest place in the nearest mountains, and it's more than 11,000 feet. About an hour and a half or so away near Holbrook, Arizona, is the Petrified Forest and the Painted Desert.
Oh, okay.
Some nice hiking over there. So I'm thinking that this might be like a 3-day trip or a 4-day trip, is drive down there and either stay in Grants or maybe another hour further west in Gallup and do a couple of these little things in there. And there's also a Malpais, I know I'm not pronouncing it right, National Monument that's right along I-40 there. There's some hiking in there, probably some pretty cool photography in the summer. So I may do like I might even drag the camper down there and just camp and drag the trailer down there and do that. But that may be another trip that I do this summer. Summer probably be pretty hot, but okay, it's gonna be hot.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thinking about doing that. So if you visit any of those places, let me know. Drop me a line. Let me know about if you visit there. If you have any suggestions for that strip along I-40, which is mostly, especially when you get in Arizona, I-40 is very featureless.
Oh yeah.
So you get the Flagstaff. There's a whole lot of nothing on I-40, but I-40 does go right past Painted Desert and Petrified Forest.
Okay.
It goes right past there. So if you've been there, let me know what you thought of it. But looking at the maps and stuff, it looks like a pretty cool place to hike. So I may do like a short 3-4 day trip, knowing it's going to be a day of just travel. So maybe 6 days if I travel on either end of it and spend a couple days down there. But that may be another trip I do. And I'll probably just spend more short couple day trips around Colorado. I haven't been out to Grand Junction in a while, Colorado National Monument. I haven't been to Moab in ages. Go out to Moab, do some hiking. That might wait till fall. Moab in the summer is really hot and incredibly stupid busy. Good luck getting into Arches National Park in the summer. You and 4 million of your best friends who want to get in there.
I'll never forget going to Arches in August one year, and I went before the sunrise. So I hiked up to the Delegate Arch. Beautiful sunrise and everything, and it was cold.
Yeah.
But as soon as the sun was up, I mean, it went from like 45 degrees to like 80 in the span of maybe a half hour or so. Like it got crazy hot.
And all that sun bouncing off the slick rock right back in your face and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, do you have any plans for 26? What do you got lined up?
The big one that I have confirmed that I'm for sure doing. Real quick, I've really enjoyed the little road trips I've done this past summer and fall, so I plan to do more of those. But the big trip that I've got planned is I have a cousin's wedding that I'm going to in Vegas, and I'm getting a rental car, and I'm going to take a couple days of that week where I'm just going to go to the Grand Canyon. Because when we did our big hike in 2018, which I can't believe it's been that long ago.
Don't underplay this. It wasn't a big hike. You went rim to rim to rim in one shot. Don't underplay how big a hike this was.
It was a huge hike, but we started and ended on the South Rim in the dark. So my goal this time is to do this hike where I go down to the river and back up on the South Rim in the daytime, so I can see what being on the South Rim looks like. Because while the hike I did in 2018 was beautiful, the majority of it was like from Phantom Ranch going north and back. And then it was dark again. So it's just kind of like, it'll be really, really nice to be able to go down the Kaibab Trail to the river and then going back up.
Bright Angel.
So yes. Because we passed along a lot of stuff, especially on the Bright Angel part going up, that I would have liked to see in the daytime, like Indian Springs and stuff. Like, it looks like a really cool campground area. It was just a bummer the entire time being on the South Rim, going down and up was in the dark. So it'd be nice to see all of that in the daylight. And I'm planning on spending a day in Williams, Arizona, which is a really cool town. It's famous for that one song. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's that song that Williams is famous for.
You mean Winslow?
Oh, you're right. Winslow.
I mean, Williams is a cool town.
Yeah.
Williams is a real cool. It's about an hour, not even an hour west of Flagstaff.
Yeah.
I don't know where but you're thinking Winslow. It's the Eagles.
Standing
on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. And if you go there, they have a whole thing at a corner in Winslow, Arizona.
Winslow. This whole time I was thinking of Williams. I'm staying in Williams, but this whole time I was thinking the song was Williams, but I forgot it's Winslow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's about an hour, not quite an hour east of Flagstaff.
Okay.
But it's right along I-40. You need to go there.
Okay.
Because they actually have an intersection there where they have an old pickup truck that they talk about in the song. There's a guy standing on the corner, and that song plays on speakers over there.
Really?
And they have a big Route 66 emblem in the middle of the intersection.
Oh,
'cause
that's
the old
cool.
Route. You need to go there. If you go by there on I-40, it's off the road. It's by the railroad tracks, south of I-40 there, but it's right in town, and it's a cool thing they've done there. With you definitely need to go there. It's a cool place.
I can't believe I got it mixed up with Williams,
But Williams is
yeah,
a really cool old town.
and I've never actually been in that town. I've driven through, obviously,
You
but
probably do
I,
on the way to Vegas.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I've always stayed in Flagstaff. But this time I was like, I'll stay in Williams because it looks like a cool little town and stuff, and it's something new. It's closer to the canyon and stuff too. But yeah, so.
Yeah, and they also have a train that runs from Williams to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, that's right.
Which
yeah.
I've never done, but I that could be things people want to do or not do. But it's a pretty cool. I've seen the train. I've never been on it, but I've seen the train.
I want to mention my friend and her family went on a Grand Canyon trip a month or two ago, and they actually rented a caboose for a room outside of Williams. And I think that's such a cool thing. Like it was an Airbnb type thing, I think. But like you could rent a couple cabooses or actual like train cars and stuff for a room to stay in, and it looks so cool.
We actually did that some years ago as an Airbnb in Buena Vista.
Oh, okay.
About 100 miles west of here. And it was a beautiful it was this little, like you said, train caboose plopped down on this property with a little babbling brook that went by there. And it was a beautiful little...
Oh, okay.
And, it was really... And they really did an outstanding job with it. It was gorgeous. But yeah, I've done something similar to that. If you ever get a chance to, it's awesome.
I'm thinking about it because the caboose is too big for me, but the train car was cheaper, and it's only like $80 a month or a night. I mean, so I was just like, oh yeah, I think I'll stay there on my trip to the Grand Canyon. So
yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should do that if you get a chance. I did it. So we did it. It's been years because we were staying out there for a couple of days, but it was cool. We didn't have a dog at the time, so it goes back more than 10 years.
okay.
So before we had Cole, we've had him 9 years, so it goes back a ways. But it was a pretty cool experience. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty ingenious how they did that.
Because I found with my little road trips I did over the summer and fall, I really enjoy staying at the quirky little spots. Even in Walden, I stayed in a motel that was just your roadside motel and it was just very old school. It kind of looked very much like Bates Motel-ish. And then in Creed, I stayed in a historic hotel, and the same with Trinidad and stuff too. Like it's just fun to stay in these places where I went to a friend's wedding that was outside of Boulder in an area called Gold Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful area. But the hotel I stayed in was a Hilton Inn type place, and I was just kind of like, it's nice, but it's not like unique.
There's no character.
Yeah.
Cool. There's a hike I would like to do in the Grand Canyon, and I'm trying to remember the name of the trail, but you go down the Kaibab Trail a ways, maybe not quite halfway down the rim.
Is it the Tonto Trail?
Tonto Trail.
Yep.
And then take that across
I thought
to
about that
Bright
too.
Angel, and you come out near, what's it called? Indian
Springs?
Indian Gardens.
Yes.
You come up by the trail, by there, then you go back up the Bright Angel Trail, or the other way around, doesn't matter. And I wanted to do that hike. A lot of people just don't do that hike. And you run about halfway down the canyon. And from what I've heard, it's about 11 miles, I think,
Yeah.
from point to point. So and most of it's not hard. Going down the Kaibab, a little difficult. And the last, 2 miles of the Bright Angel is pretty steep. But a lot of switchbacks. A lot of people do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually get stuck because they go down to Indian Gardens and they go back up and realize that it's pretty steep going back out of there. That's a hike I'd like to do. and I just have never gone back there to do it. Last time I was back there was, well, when I did the whole stayed overnight at the couple nights down at Phantom Ranch.
I thought about that, but a part of me is like, I didn't get to see the river and the daylight,
Yeah,
so I'm kind of like, I want to go all the way down.
Yeah.
Because I think rim to river to rim is 16 miles or 15 miles or something like
They
that.
recommend not trying to even do it in one day.
Yeah,
It's-
because I'll never forget the last 7 miles was going up the Bright Angel Trail, and of course this is after 42 miles of hiking
Right.
and stuff, and it's dark and it's cold. So
Let's face it, Kevin, you're out of your mind.
yeah, right. So I was miserable. Like it was rough.
Right.
So I think it'd be much more doable in the daytime, but I thought about the Tonto Trail route too, like as more of a better daytime route. Like do I really need to go down to the river, or am I fine if I just stay on the Tonto Trail? But
And the Park Service really recommends not trying to do down to the river and back in one day.
yeah.
The problem is getting a place to stay at Phantom Ranch requires almost a year and a half of.
Oh yeah,
And even if you camp at the campground there, you need like a year ahead reservation, which is why I paid to go with a group to go down there, because they had already had the reservations, because I knew I'd have to be a year and a half out. Plus it was a long hike in a place I'd never been before, and I knew it was dangerous. Now that I've done it, I would be comfortable, but having not done it before, I felt it was better and safer to go with somebody who had.
makes sense. Yeah.
So I did at that time. So anyway, those are my plans. Sounds like you got some more plans.
Yeah, the
A
official
mix of little things.
Las
and big
Vegas
things.
and Grand Canyon plans, because I plan to do hikes outside of Las Vegas. I would love to go back to Valley of Fire, which I recently read that they built a new visitor center out there. So
Been ages since I've been there too.
what?
It's been ages since I've been out
Oh yeah,
there.
it's a beautiful state park. So if you're ever in the area, like it is worth it. It's a lot of history too out there. So I plan to go out there and like Red Rock Canyon, because I go back to Vegas every 2 or 3 years anyway for family stuff. And I usually say hi to my family for about 15 minutes, and then I spend the rest of the week in the desert.
Sounds like a good amount of time to spend with the family. Well, you need to stop by and visit us in Phoenix if you're coming through Phoenix. We'll be down there in
Oh,
March,
yeah.
so you need to stop by, and maybe if you have a day, the spare, we'll do some hiking down in the Phoenix area. You can spend the night with us too. We'll be down there.
Which I'm trying to plan that part out, because I have more time than I thought I would. Because the wedding isn't until that Saturday, but we're gonna be there a week before.
Oh yeah.
But my mom wants to do some family stuff, whatever. But
Sorry, Mom, if you're listening.
no, I'm very very excited. We're going to the Neon Museum and
Oh, I've been there. It's beautiful.
and I've never been, so I'm really excited about that. And we're going to Meow Wolf, which I went in 2022 when I was driving through to do Mount Whitney. Very, very awesome. Like it is a cool place. And we're doing a few other stuff with the family and stuff. But yeah, I've got more time than I thought I would. So I'm just like, oh, maybe I should take a day to go down to Phoenix and hike out there and stuff. And it'll be March, so it won't be like crazy hot and stuff. It'll be warm still, obviously, but it won't be.
It'll be nice.
Yeah.
What's it, about 4 hours from Phoenix to Las Vegas?
Yeah.
About 4 hour drive. So not terrible.
And it's 3 or 4 hours from Vegas to Grand Canyon, but I know from Grand Canyon to Phoenix is like 2.5 hours or something like that. It's not super long, but
Closer to 3.
3. Okay,
It's
okay.
almost an hour just to get to Flagstaff
Yeah,
from Grand Canyon.
because I would be going from Williams.
Yeah. It's even there.
I would have to go to Flagstaff to go south to
Right.
get to Phoenix.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Get on the I-17 to come south. But it's it's about 2 hours from Flagstaff to Phoenix.
Okay.
But it's almost an hour from the south rim of the Grand Canyon to Flagstaff. So gives up about 3 hours.
Okay.
Cool. Well, Kevin, I think we got a lot of wrapped up here. We're probably
Oh, yeah.
going long, but what the heck, we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to tell everybody before we go? Everybody I don't know if we're going to hit you again before the holidays, before Christmas and New Year's kick in. If we don't, Have a great holiday season. I think we're going to squeeze in another podcast. We have plans to,
Okay, yep.
but we'll try to get there. But if we don't, or you're out traveling or something, have a great holiday season.
Have a great holiday season and a New Year's and all that. I wish the best for all of you in 2026.
We should be back before the holidays, but just in case we're not, have a good time. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Outdoors Hiking Bob podcast. We'll talk to you next time.
We'll talk to you later.
See you all.